did. You found them.
Ava, the station. We made contact. She can't wait to see you. She's coming back.
You're having her come back to Earth. Do they know what's happening here?
No, there wasn't time. We lost contact. Listen, just get to the Delaware coast. She's splashing down at 4:30.
Have you lost your mind?
The station's been through hell.
You're having her come back to these things.
There's nothing we could do. It couldn't stay up there. Michael, there wasn't a choice.
There is a choice. Tell them not to come back.
Listen to me.
Tell them not to come back. Tell them not to come back. Do you hear me? Tell them not to come back.
Mind blown. Now that was an experience. Welcome everybody to Netflix Nights number 34, where I'll be talking about the Cloverfield Paradox. But before I do, let's see what the good folks over at Netflix have for a synopsis for us today, shall we? Orbiting above a planet on the brink of war, scientists test a device to solve an energy crisis and end up face to face with a dark alternate reality. Rated TVMA and from 2018. And I'm not gonna lie with you guys, I was originally supposed to review a different movie for you, but that all changed once I found out that this movie was hitting Netflix. I had to watch it and review it for you guys. I hope you guys watched it too. It's definitely an interesting experience, and I have been waiting for this film to come out. And I know that it went through a lot of different sort of iterations and issues, and it was delayed for a while, and it was supposed to hit theaters sometime in April, and then that changed, and then I heard about the Netflix thing, and then suddenly it just drops out of nowhere, and here we are, right? And I took a bunch of notes on this movie, a ton of them, but we'll get there. But I do want to talk about the first Cloverfield movie. Now, that first Cloverfield movie, when it hit, it was a genuinely unique science fiction film. It still is to this day. I really do love that movie. And it was a found footage movie. Now, we look back at found footage films nowadays and we sort of like, oh boy, you know, we grown, right? But back then it was unique. And I still think it's a unique film to this day. I really do. And it brought up a lot more questions than it did answers. And I know that frustrated a lot of people, and a lot of people thought, well, this movie did very well at the box office. We're obviously probably going to get a sequel. And many, many years later we did 10 Cloverfield Lane. Now, the thing is, 10 Cloverfield Lane is really different. It doesn't answer anything from that first movie. And I think the expectations were that it was going to, and when it didn't, that disappointed people. But I think looking back at that film now, I think people really do love that film, and that's another genuinely unique, fantastic movie all on its own. And I think these Cloverfield movies have become sort of like a Twilight Zone type of thing, where they take the Cloverfield name and they take sort of the ideas of Cloverfield science fiction and creatures and sort of spin it in their own different, interesting way, which I'm completely fine with. And the whole thing with J.J. Abrams is a guy that has this whole idea of a mystery box, that you have these questions, and these questions are really intriguing and they're mysterious, and You want to know more about it, you talk about it, but sometimes the answers aren't really as good as the questions being posed. And maybe even J.J. Abrams would even agree with that statement. Who knows? I mean, but it served him well. I mean, these movies are really great. And with this film, like I said, it's an interesting and unique movie. And I want to say right off the bat, this is a prequel movie. Okay, this takes place before these Cloverfield movies, so just know that going in that it is a prequel to it. Now, this was originally supposed to be called The God Particle. Now that changed, and obviously we have the name that we do now. Either way, that name would have fit regardless. I mean, it pretty much fits with what the movie we get anyways. And I will say this much, that I don't want to really spoil this movie for you guys a lot. I really am going to try not to do that. But I may try to say a few things to try to elaborate a little bit more on this review. So just know that going in. Now, I will say this much, that the idea that basically the premise of this movie is the idea that you have these scientists from all across the globe, America, Germany, Europe, China, you name it. And basically they've all come together because the Earth's resources are depleting, which is basically in real life. Our resources are depleting, and the idea that if we don't solve this crisis, then basically we won't have an Earth left. And so they go up in space and they have this sort of particle accelerator. And what this particle accelerator does is that it would give us unlimited energy. And the idea that these scientists have been up on this sort of ship for about over 2 years, and in all that time, all of these experiments that they've done with this particle accelerator have failed. They have not been successful. And so there's only about 3 or so times left that they have in order to operate this thing before basically the energy is gone. And so if they don't fix it, we're screwed. If they do, then we have an unlimited amount of energy that basically the whole globe can use, and we won't have to worry about resources for a very, very long time. What ends up happening is that they end up basically succeeding, it works, and then from that point, chaos happens. So the idea basically, and it's even in the description, the idea of an alternate reality. The idea that once they use this thing, basically they go to an alternate version of where they think they are, pretty much, right? Now, before the whole thing happens with the particle accelerator and everything like that, and before that works, you see footage of people really talking about this and saying that this experiment is dangerous, that it could cause huge ramifications, weird things going on, creatures and everything like that we know nothing about could suddenly appear, could suddenly pop up, could suddenly inhabit our world because of this particle accelerator. Of course, nobody listens to those fears, and of course, we do what we do. That's how science works, folks. We don't listen to people. We just go ahead and do what the hell we do. And basically, once they're in this alternate reality, everything sort of turns on its head. Whether it's the ship going really weird and bonkers, whether it's certain people that are now not themselves anymore. There's a lot of weird things and weird happenings going on. And I think another thing I want to say about this movie is the acting in this movie is really incredible. I think these actors, all of them, do a really fantastic job. And just off the bat, just people that are in this movie, you have Daniel Bruhl, who was, of course, in Captain America Civil War. He's in this. You have, and I hope I'm not butchering her name, Juju Mibatha Raw. God, I hope I'm not butchering it. She plays the character of Hamilton. She's sort of the main female lead in this movie. You also have Chris O'Dowd, who plays Mundy, Elizabeth Debicki, who plays Jensen, David Oyelowo, who plays Commander Keel, Roger Davies, who plays Michael, John Ortiz, who plays Acosta, and you have Ziyi Zhang, who plays Tam. Now, all of these actors, they have a lot of great chemistry together. They're all fantastic actors, and no one's overstepping on anybody else. You know what I mean? Nobody's like, I'm going to take the spotlight. I'm going to overdo it. Nobody's trying to overtake anybody in this movie. Everybody's working as a team. Everybody is putting in their effort. Nobody's overshadowing anybody. And I like that. The cast works really well together. They really, really do. And I do want to say a couple things specifically about the character of Hamilton, who is the female lead. As I've said before in previous videos, and I'll say it here, I love strong female leads. I don't care who they are. I don't care, what other people think. If they don't like strong female leads, I could care less. I like strong female leads. And Hamilton reminds me of almost a Ripley type of character. Somebody who's incredibly strong, but yet flawed, and also very emotional too. She is somebody who wears her heart on her sleeve, but yet can be tough when the times call for it. And this is a woman who's had very emotional issues. Again, I won't spoil what happens to her, but she definitely is somebody who has a lot of baggage, and there's a reason why she's going on this mission. And you also have a lot of these other characters who are coming on this mission for certain reasons, and you find that out during the course of the movie as well. And it just is a really fantastically well acted movie, and nobody's playing it for cheap. Nobody's playing it for, oh, this is just another one of those Cloverfield movies, we can just, phone it in. Nobody's doing that, guys. They are fantastic in this movie. And I also want to say the CGI is incredible in this movie. Maybe I was expecting bad CGI. Maybe I was, but it was so good. The CGI was fantastic here. It felt like they really put the effort into the CGI. Nothing was cheap. Nothing felt fake. It felt real. It felt like they really were almost like doing... It almost felt real to me. I guess that's the real way to... It felt real. And that was important to me. If I'm going to be invested in a movie, I want to feel like I'm actually living in that world. And CGI and everything was really effective. Also, the designs of this movie. I thought the design of the ship was really cool. And you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of 2001: A Space Odyssey. It really did. The design of the ship sort of reminded me of that a lot, and it reminded me of the first Alien film. It feels very lived in, it feels very real, it feels like these people have really inhabited it. It doesn't feel overly glossy, it doesn't feel sort of too like brand new. It doesn't feel that, and I think that's another thing I appreciate. Again, lived in world, feels real, feels like I'm with these characters, and that's, I think, the point they wanted to get across. So all that is really fantastic. And I have to give it to the director here. The director is Julius Ona, and I haven't seen any of this guy's work. I know he's done a lot of other work as a director. I haven't seen any of his other work other than this movie, but if this movie is any indication, he's a fantastic director. He gets exactly what he wants out of the actors. The designs are fantastic. The cinematography is fantastic. This guy definitely knows what he's doing, and you could tell that people like J.J. Abrams really trusted this guy with this material, and I feel like he definitely brought his own flavor to it that's different from the first Cloverfield and from 10 Cloverfield Lane as well. It's completely unique and really wonderfully interesting science fiction that I really do appreciate quite a bit. And, I do want to say, other than a couple other things here, that, you know, this movie does answer questions. It answers questions of why we got the creature in Cloverfield. It answers the reason of the creatures in 10 Cloverfield Lane. It answers these things. And there's a lot of cool little Easter eggs in the movie as well. Again, I found a couple, but there's certainly a ton more. Whether it's the bunker that one of the guys is in on Earth, whether it's the whole idea of being in New York where the creature is, or the idea of being in space and the idea of the alternate reality and how it is affecting certain people. You get a lot of little Easter eggs. Maybe you guys will find more than I did, but it's definitely a movie that I want to watch for a second time and a third time and a fourth time. It's such a unique movie, and it's such incredible science fiction. And what's been really interesting about these Cloverfield movies is that they've been different types of films, right? You've had a found footage movie in the first Cloverfield. You had an intense thriller drama in 10 Cloverfield Lane. And then in something like this movie, in the Cloverfield Paradox, you have really unique science fiction action thriller. There's different genres for Cloverfield, and I feel like Cloverfield can continue. The interesting thing is, why didn't it come to the theaters? Why didn't they try to promote this and get this out there? I don't know whether they thought it wouldn't make money, whether they thought it was better on a platform like Netflix. I don't know. I hope that anything that goes forward here, if we get a fourth Cloverfield movie, if somehow we get another one, I hope it comes to the theaters. I would have liked for this to have a really great theater experience, because I watched it on my 4K TV, and it looks amazing on a 4K TV, but it would look amazing on the big screen. So I don't know why they didn't release it on the big screen, but regardless, I'm happy that Netflix picked it up. And I do want to say that this is not a slow-paced film, by the way. This film picks up really fast and doesn't let go for the rest of the film. It just straight on keeps going. And it's about an hour and 40 minutes. And I'm telling you guys, that hour and 40 breezes by. You are gonna, like, before you know it, it's over and you want to go again. At least I do. It is such a wonderful film. And I gotta give J.J. Abrams a lot of credit, because he knows how to make a good film. He knows how to get the people and the talent involved and make a solid film. He's one of my favorite producers out there, one of my favorite filmmakers. He knows how to make a solid film. He knows how to get the right people behind him. And things like these Cloverfield films are proof of that. They're proof of it. And they work incredibly well. They really honestly do. And again, I wholeheartedly recommend this film. I wholeheartedly recommend this film to you guys. Go out, watch it, enjoy it. And, you know, maybe you guys won't love it as well as I do, but I think you guys will get enjoyment out of it. And I think it's a really cool sort of curiosity film and a really cool science fiction film. And I feel we're getting a lot more great science fiction out there lately. Netflix is putting out a lot of cool stuff, whether it's the new season of Altered Carbon, or, you know, of course, this film coming out, I believe, in a few weeks. In February here, I believe we're probably getting Mute from Duncan Jones. So, I mean, there's a lot of cool science fiction stuff coming. And to me, I'm a big science fiction guy. So anytime science fiction has a real big resurgence, I'm a fan of it and I love it. So yes, this is a wholehearted recommend. I hope you guys definitely check it out. And that'll do it for Netflix Nights number 34 for the Cloverfield Paradox. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope you enjoy the video and check out the other content on the YouTube channel. Check out the other Netflix movie reviews, check out the Blu-ray pickups, check out the theatrical movie reviews, and check out the Blu-ray and DVD out and about videos. If you like everything you see and are a lover of movies and physical media, then hit subscribe and become part of the Film Fan Nation, where I love to discuss film, movies, physical media with you guys, and I love getting feedback from you and have a great discussion about movies and the love of movies. I love it so much. It's the reason why I started this channel. So, I hope you guys enjoy the Cloverfield Paradox, and here's to hoping for a number 4. Hoping this is successful. Alright guys, I will see you next time for another Netflix Nights. Take care everybody.